lot of people have been saying that the idea of having a fitness regime is really appealing. And a lot of people have even said that creating a fitness regime is really appealing. And a lot of people have said that keeping going with the fitness regime is the hardest part. In fact, is there anything we can share that might make that a bit easier? So that's what today's video is all about. So in time-honored fashion, we have to state we're not experts in anything. We're only sharing what works for us in the hope that some of it might be of help and that some of it might resonate. But the team here, the very first thing they wanted to get across in this video is that it's entirely natural to maybe struggle in this regard, that it's nothing to be ashamed of. We feel, based on no research and no particular expertise, we feel that maybe mankind is programmed to conserve energy, not to expend it. And that maybe when we were back in our origins, living in caves, the people that conserved their strength, the springs in their legs, their stamina, the people that guarded that probably were better equipped to escape a tiger that was chasing them than those that had just done 50 press-ups and 50 burpees and were eaten by the same lion. We probably had a bit of reverse evolution here that we're all fighting. It's a theory. Okay, we've just had a discussion and we're agreed it's probably a rubbish theory. Let's move on. So a couple of things in no particular order, commencing with the mantra of being your own best friend that we believe in here at Upcycled You. If your best friend, your own best friend, your new best friend sees you struggling to get going, sometimes they're going to encourage you and sometimes they're going to say, look, you need a day off until you refigure this. Do not bash your head against a brick wall on this one. Be your own best friend. Be appropriate in your advice. Some days you need a day off. Well, if you're really struggling because of commitments and diary and just struggling to fit in where you're going to do 20 minutes, 40 minutes of exercise in a particular day, and you think, I can't do that in one day, how am I going to do that 4 times a week? We would really recommend planning, just sitting down with your diary, your schedule, and just thinking across 7 days, where are my 4 windows to do this stuff? And kind of commit to it. If you plan and then fulfill a plan, you'd be amazed the sense of achievement and accomplishment you'll get just from sticking to a plan, let alone the exercise. Planning something and doing it is good for you, we think. And next up, across those 3 or 4 sessions, across those 7 days, there's bound to be some days where it's harder than others to get going. When you're really struggling on the particularly troublesome session, take comfort from and bear in mind the Upcycled You rule of inverse logic here. That states that the session that it's hardest to get going on is probably the session that's going to make you feel most satisfied when it's complete and done. We're not promising anything, just sharing what works with us. And we follow that with another point, or is it just an extension of the previous point? That's been a matter of some debate here amongst the team, but never mind. The point being, if you're thinking in terms of a set of 4 across 7 days, maybe the first on a Monday might be the hardest. But paradoxically, you already know it's going to be the hardest because Mondays can be tough anyway. And you might know that the Friday one that completes the session, completes the set, heads you off into your weekend might be the easiest. And that somehow just thinking in terms of a set makes the whole thing easier to start with. Make sense? And now we follow that with a practical point that arguably should have come earlier, but there's been enough debate already, so no arguments. A point is, vary your classes, mix them up. Do not fall into a routine. Do not get complacent because you can now do the same routine over and over. Vary the classes and vary the people presenting the classes. There's 1,000,001 classes available, so mix it up. Do not bore yourself with the same stuff day in, day out. What about music? Maybe you're one of these people for whom music is a real motivator and something that really is going to help you get over the line and get into things. maybe a soundtrack, a playlist of your own favourite high energy, up-tempo tunes would really be a benefit and create another dimension to working out. Certainly what I use, and half the fun on my playlist is thinking, what's the next song going to be as I'm sweating away, pumping iron, or whatever. All you need to do is make sure you've got good visibility of the clocks and the timers that tell you how long to exercise and when to stop. After that, music is your friend, we think. Possibly. So we've mentioned a few practical things there, some of them pretty obvious, perhaps, but we share them in the hope that some of them might resonate. More importantly though, let's get back to this thing of being your own best friend. If your own best friend saw you struggling to keep going and then saw you keep going, they'd be proud of you, wouldn't they? And what we want to stress is you're allowed to feel proud of yourself. If you've set out to do this and you accomplish it, it's a great thing that you've done and you're allowed to feel good about it. So high five yourself, congratulate yourself, walk with a spring in your step and celebrate when you've done it. Well, maybe some of it makes sense to some viewers some of the time, perhaps. We share in that hope. More profoundly, let's come to a better point, and that is that no part of your Upcycled You regime, way of doing things, way of thinking about things, activities, should become an obligation, and that includes the exercise part, exercise regime. It should never be a duty, a bore, a burden, something that you dread. The whole point is for it to be fun. If it stops being fun, then you have to stop and reconsider. Maybe think about what about it turns you off? What about it, if anything, turns you on? And then we have to sit down and solve the riddle about how we maximize one, minimize the other, which is an integral part, taking responsibility for yourself and your own pleasure and fulfillment. On that profound point, we'll conclude this particular episode and hopefully see you next time. Be seeing you.